prophet Amos, Amot Hanavi, says in chapter number 8, "See, days are coming, declares the Master Yahweh, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger for bread, nor a thirst for water, but for hearing the words of Yahweh." Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, a Torah portion, Mikketz. We are in Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter number 42. And it says in verse 1, "And when Yaakov saw that there was grain in Mitzrayim, Yaakov said to his sons, 'Why do you look at each other?' And he said, 'See, I have heard that there is grain in Mitzrayim. Go down to that place and buy for us there, and let us live and not die.'" They were experiencing a bit of a famine. And then it says that when his brothers came to him, verse number 8 says, "So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him." Now the brothers and Joseph are engaged in this ongoing storyline of becoming reacquainted with one another and being ultimately reconciled and restored. You and I are currently in this same process where the body of Messiah and all of its various parts and pieces are becoming recognized for who we are and the role that we are called to play. And then we are being beckoned to come sit down together and learn to be the family again together. There is a faulty concept, especially here in America, pertaining to prophecy. I just read from the prophet Amos about this coming time of the hungering for the word of Yah. That time is right on us right now. And so we have this concept that says that, well, if it's prophesied, Yah is going to do it. We just need to stay out of his way. Let's sit back on the front porch and see how he does it. That's faulty thoughts pertaining to prophecy. The reality is that when we see a prophecy in the scriptures, we need to figure out, how is it that I play a role in seeing this come to pass? Yah's not looking for our apathy or a lack of movement or attention. He's looking for our participation and our involvement. What Yah does in the earth, he does through the agency of man. He has raised you and I up to be his hands, to be the speaker of his words, to be the performers of his signs, wonders, and miracles, to be his agents in the earth to carry out his kingdom, his will, and his purpose. So if Yah does it, he will do it, but he will do it through us. We must be prepared for that eventuality. Now back to the storyline. Joseph has now been presented to us as Messiah, son of Joseph, Mashiach ben Joseph. If you're not familiar with that term or that thought, and I know we have some in our audience that are new to Hebraic thinking, there is a Hebrew mindset and way of thinking that there are two Messiahs. Now, before you turn me off too quick, hear me out. The two Messiahs are called Messiah, son of Joseph, and Messiah, son of David. Now, our brother Yehuda knows this to be true, and they believe that when Messiah ben Joseph shows up, when the son of Joseph shows up, they won't recognize him for who he is. They believe that he will die, and it is only after he has died that they began to realize who he may have been. They are still asking, who is Messiah ben Joseph? And the one that they're looking for currently is Messiah, son of David. They're looking for their king, for the Messiah with kingly authority and rule and reign. Now, you and I believe that Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David are one and the same. They are Yeshua. Yeshua has already come as the suffering servant. He has come as Messiah ben Joseph. He has come to redeem, to save, to care for the needs of the people, to feed the people, to be gentle and compassionate. And he is returning as Messiah ben David, or David, in order that he might rule and reign over us. Now, without going into a long, lengthy discourse on this, There are many parallels between the life of Joseph and that of Yeshua, and that's widely available. I encourage you to research that. Going back to the story, so one of the aspects of this is that Joseph has been pulled up out of the pit. Now, this is a type of resurrection. He was hidden, but now he has been revealed again. And as the resurrection of Yeshua, we don't see Yeshua, but we see his body. Now we're seeing the activity of the body of Messiah ben Joseph. As members of his body, like Joseph, we have access to grain. Grain is a type and shadow of the Word of Elohim. And Amos says that the world will begin to hunger for this word. Not for bread, not for water. It's not going to be a shortage of those commodities, but rather of the word of Yah. And so having this word, we are going to be called upon to feed them, to grant to them the access to the word. And it's interesting that they're not going to come to us in the land of Israel for this, but like Joseph, they're going to come to us in Egypt, in Mitzrayim, the type and the shadow of the world's systems. So while we are in exile, while we're yet in this present world, they will come to us with their hunger. And it is up to you and I to collect the word, study the word, be prepared and instant in the word, and then be able to distribute the same word. Those who come to us belong to us. We're family. There's no lording over or gloating about the fact that we have word, we have knowledge, we have truth, and that those who come to us are lacking in that. Such were we before we found the grain. So there's no need to gloat here. Here's the issue. Like Joseph, he recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. There are many that are currently caught up in the religious systems of man's creation and design, and they come to us having heard we have the word. We know who they are. We know that they're family. We know that we belong together, but they do not so much think of us in those same terms. And so we have a little bit of an awkward advantage here. So we know what they're going through. And we know that we have the word of truth that will feed them. But again, we have to be careful because when they look at us, they see us as a foreigner as compared to themselves. It is to our advantage not to overload them with grain at the first meeting. They may gorge themselves on it and they may choke. It's important to us that we measure to them so that they can consume and then come back for more. In other words, don't try to tell somebody everything you think you know in the first conversation. Give them something to chew on and let them digest that, and they'll come back for another bite. Now that may seem like manipulation. No, it's just giving people enough to consider without becoming overwhelmed. Now, some are going to be coming looking for a new revelation, some new enticing teaching, something to glory in, something to run back to their congregations and say, hey, look what I learned. Well, they may do that and they may use it for their own purposes, but the effort is to get the word out. Others are going to be starving. They'll eat anything you give them. They're desperate. They're hurting. They're beyond all measure of endurance, and they have to have some sense of reason and stability. Again, be careful that you don't overfeed. But we need to feed them till they can come to a place of discerning and handling a full meal. And others will be looking for exactly what we have to offer. They'll be willing to pay whatever price they need to pay to get it. This is not about money. I don't do these videos to receive money. They're offered free on the internet for anyone who wants to receive them. but they're willing to pay the sacrificial, self-sacrifice price of study and listening and application. Let's be ready with the word. We got a lot of hungry people to feed. We'll talk tomorrow. Till then, shalom.